Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever tried to read a university textbook and felt like you were trying to decipher a totally different language? It's not quite everyday English. Well, you're not wrong. Today, we're going to dive into the key that unlocks that entire world, something called English for Academic Purposes, or EAP for short. So let's just jump right into the big question, right? What is it that makes academic English feel so different? It's more than just using fancy words. It's a whole different way of thinking, of building an argument, and of communicating. And that gap right there is exactly what EAP is built to solve. All right, so let's get into it. What is EAP really? Honestly, the best way to think about it is as the specialized key you need to unlock the doors on your academic journey. Okay, so here's the official take. EAP is all about teaching English for people who are going to study or do research at a university. But, and this is the important part, it goes way beyond just grammar and vocabulary. It's about tackling the whole environment, the social side, the way you need to think, and of course, the specific language that university life demands. This right here is a fantastic overview of the entire EAP ecosystem. You can see how it breaks down into these key areas, the different ways it's taught, the communication skills you actually learn, and all the research that makes it work. We're going to use this as our map and walk through it piece by piece. So how do people actually teach EAP? Well, it turns out there's not just one single way to do it. You can think of the different methods as, well, different maps for navigating the academic world. One of the first big debates you'll find is this: EGIP versus ESAP. EGIP stands for English for General Academic Purposes. It teaches you those broad skills that are useful no matter what you study, things like how to summarize an article or take good notes. Then you've got ESAP, English for Specific Academic Purposes. This gets super targeted. It focuses on the very specific language you'd need for, say, engineering or law or medicine. Next up, you have the Study Skills approach. This one is all about the practical stuff, the how-tos of being a student. How do you actually use the library's databases? How do you format your references so you don't get in trouble? What are the best strategies for exams? It's really the nuts and bolts of university survival.
Now, this next idea is super interesting. It's called disciplinary socialization, and it basically sees every academic field, whether it's history or physics or art, as its own unique tribe. And every tribe has its own culture, its own secret handshake, its own unwritten rules. So learning isn't just about skills, it's about learning the culture so you can become a member of the tribe.
And finally, there's the academic literacies approach. This one takes a step back and gets a little more critical. It asks the why questions. Why is academic writing structured this way? It looks at how things like power and social class and even your own identity can shape the language you're expected to use to succeed in the university system. But no matter which of those approaches you take, the end goal is always the same: to give students an essential toolkit for success. And that toolkit is really built on 4 fundamental pillars of communication. That's right, just 4. If you can get a handle on these 4 core pillars, you're building a foundation for pretty much everything you'll need to do. Pillar number 1 is academic reading. And believe me, this is so much more than just understanding the words on a page. It's about reading like a detective. You're trying to figure out the author's real argument, decide if their sources are any good, and spot the difference between a hard fact and their personal opinion. Then we have Pillar 2, academic speaking. This is everything from giving a killer presentation to actually knowing how to jump into a seminar discussion. And a really crucial part of this is learning how to express your own opinion while also using careful hedging language. Saying things like, "it seems that," or "the data might suggest." It's a huge part of sounding credible. Of course, pillar number 3 is a big one: academic writing. This means mastering all those different essay types, building really solid paragraphs, and this is absolutely critical, mastering referencing. Getting your citations perfect isn't just about avoiding plagiarism. It's how you show you've done your homework and are joining the ongoing academic conversation. And our final pillar, one that honestly gets overlooked a lot, is academic listening. This isn't passive, it's an active skill. It's about being able to sit in a long lecture, pull out the main arguments, and take notes that you can actually understand later, maybe using your own system of shortcuts and symbols. So you might be wondering, how do we know any of this stuff actually works? Well, EAP isn't just a bunch of good ideas. It is built on a solid foundation of research. This research is basically the blueprint that makes the teaching so effective. Designing an EAP course is actually a super careful three-step process. First, instructors do what's called genre analysis. They basically dissect a lab report or a research article to find its hidden structure. Then, they use corpus analysis, which is just using huge databases of text to find the most common words and phrases. And finally, and most importantly, they do a needs analysis to make sure the course is perfectly tailored to what the students actually need to achieve.
When you put it all together, you get to this really powerful idea. EAP isn't just about learning English. It's about getting the key that unlocks the door to a global community of thinkers and researchers. It's your ticket to the conversation.
So as we wrap this up, the real question isn't just about what EAP is. It's about what it can do for you. Now that you've got the key, what door are you going to unlock next?